Hey guys, it's Ben here from Second Dynasty. Hopefully the sound is coming through. I need to make sure I have my chat open so I can talk to you guys. John is listening in. He's about to give me the thumbs up, which he just did. I blinded myself though looking in his direction. It is Friday, the 2nd of May, guys. I can't believe we're here already. It's a little scary, to be honest, that the year is going by so quickly. And I have here in front of me in Maya this month's tribe release, or at least we're going to talk about this in general in just a little bit. And let me see, I want to refresh this page here, just make sure everything is streaming as desired. There we go, that looks better. Alright, so who we got here? Who's in the chat to say g'day to? We've got Doug Jeffries, we've got Clive, Solo Spirit, Blasted is here, welcome Blasted. Kathy is here, yay, you remembered. John, of course, is here in the background, giving the thumbs up. 2 thumbs up, in fact. Although he's not making sound for some reason. Yeah, he's muted himself. We also have Albin in the background, making some noise. Let's see. We got Tamsin is here, and Sam is here. And then I'm guessing there's a couple of other people here that aren't quite in the chat. So, hey Brendan, and happy Friday to you too. So I just want to go through what we have for the Tribes offering this month. In fact, I just am about to send out a monthly update for May, and what do you know, it looks like my mini factory hasn't completely crashed again. So 2 months in a row, well done to my mini factory. It's still bugging out, but hey, you can get places. So we have a few new things to test out as well, but before I go into the visual details of this, I'm just going to switch over to the fancy new graphic that John whipped up for me just a few hours ago. We've got the tribe screen. So for anyone that doesn't quite know, Tribes is similar to Patreon in the sense of it's a monthly sub where you can support Second Dynasty, get fat discounts on my mini factory store, and also get some really cool unique goodies every single month. This month we have this skiff that I was just talking about. We also have some awesome modular grid forge staterooms. So we've come up with a clever way to sort of allow you to customize your staterooms a bit more. I think we've got even more planned in the future. Really loving grid forge, guys, and yeah, it's less than $250. So I wanted to make it $350, but just so I could get the Loch Ness Monster joke in there, but it seemed a bit unfair to charge you guys an extra $1 just because of that. So vehicles is still at $5 a month, and of course, important to note, you can subscribe to 2 different tiers at once on Tribe. So if you only want the vehicles and the grid forge stuff together, $7.50 a month, not too bad. And then of course we have Friends of Benjamin, which is $12.22 a month, or only $10.19 if you go for the annual. And here we have a second vehicle. So that's the stuff John wanted me to talk about for the tribe stuff. Is there anything else missing, John? I mean, they've got the pictures in front of them. Yes, there is an extra pose for the Friends of Benjamin and compared to the vehicles. So there are some extra goodies in addition to this second skiff. So we've got the stock horse here. Wait, I need to switch back to my Maya scene so you guys can actually see what's going on. We got the stock horse here, and I've got my, I think we call it a void runner.
Yeah.
Like it's a hard shell powered spacesuit with some fancy thrusters and things. So the idea behind these little skiffs, and part of the reason why we got these miniatures extra this month, is also just because it's not a large vehicle, but it is a very nifty little build. And actually, before we go looking in Maya too much, maybe we should just look at the fancy new movable camera that John created, which I've moved away from the really important stuff, which is Benjamin up there. And we can take a look at some of the things, aside from, the start of Persephone. Let's see, what have we got in the box of goodies? So, this is our... Let's see. I don't know how good the picture's going to be here. I think it's meant to be on autofocus. But we have here the skiff version. This is called the Brumby. And you'll note that there are some features of this that are not quite detailed yet. I don't know why that's not focusing so well. I guess we're not used to this camera yet. Looks like the back looks good, but not the front. So, it comes out pretty well in FDM. I believe this is the 0.4 version that we're showing off.
Yes.
And of course, if you did want to do that in resin, you could fairly easily. Let's see, so that's the skiff. The raft here is really not focusing.
That's because you're doing it wrong.
Why? It's meant to be still.
So instead, put the things on the desk and then keep the camera farther away. Wait. And then hold the camera much farther away. There you go. There.
Yeah, I don't like this. So there you go. I guess it is a bit more in focus, but this light is not the best, so you can see. Oh, it's adjustable?
Mm-hmm.
There you go, John accounting for all situations here. So, yeah, here is the raft itself. Not too bad. We have... So, oh, no. Oh, I dropped one of the miniatures. Did it break?
No.
That's amazing. Yes, it did.
It did?
Look, it's missing a thruster.
Oh.
So, yeah, yay, I broke it. You know what, I'm not going to use this camera right now because this is not in focus whatsoever. Unfortunately, so...
This is what we test.
Let's just go back to the regular camera, I guess, and we can use the light on this thing to make it a little clearer. So, let's show you the skiff. And actually, I think I have a cool little light here. So, let's try it again. Sorry, this is the raft. There we go. You can kind of see the shape of it a bit better with a bit of light on it. Yeah, this isn't great either. This is just nonsense. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to show you guys in 3D instead. This is a little disappointing.
So you never tested nor did you would change the camera
Shh. I know it's my fault, John.
Okay, as long as you know.
Yeah, anyway, I'll make sure the chat's up as well so I can see you guys. So sorry about that frustration. So the skiff itself is, of course, a bit longer. I love the detail that we managed to get in underneath. We're continuing this theme of the vehicle version getting like a default version, and then the Friends of Benjamin and getting an extra variant. Quite pleased with the way this came together, with all the roll cages down the bottom, and here we have a standard sliding clip mount, so you can actually put a gun on this thing if you want, or some kind of other mount that's compatible with an open lock clip. Anything really compatible with that. And down here, these little circular areas are actually compatible with the Nipper, the vehicle that Albin put out a couple of months back, which looks like one of our shuttle pods, but with some robotic arms. So these are actually compatible with those. So if you want to put some tool heads on the front there, you have the option if you own those parts. So it's kind of compatible with a few other of our vehicles. Hey mister, why did the skiff have the strange connection on the side? What would that be for? What? Isn't that what I just talked about? Okay. So John doesn't trust me to do my job. So the power suit itself has 4 different poses. I don't have them loaded in at the moment, and actually the best way to check them out is just look at the graphic that we made on our tribe screen there. So in all there are 4 with 1 extra pose coming from Friends of Benjamin. And I think they turned out cool. This was based on one of my older spacesuit designs that I actually drew years and years ago. We're calling this one the Mark 1 because it didn't quite come out exactly as I wanted it to, and I think a part of that is just the fact that when you're the artist and someone else is sculpting for you, it is hard to get exactly what you want, just because, you know, I have my own idea in my head about what looks right or what doesn't. So we ended up going with this as the Mark 1, so I kind of considered it like the what am I looking for? Iron Man suit Mark 1, essentially. So the final version would be a little bit more streamlined, a little less bulky. But in general, this has the shape I was looking for in the design. So yeah, that's this month's tribe covered. I don't have the Gridforge tiles loaded in, but they are rather nifty, and we just split up some of our existing concepts for staterooms. John did new walls. Anything else you want to add to that, John?
The beds are actually new, and the connector, the door's new too. So they're actually from scratch recreations of our stateroom.
There you go. So he did a Sleipnir refit of the staterooms, if you will. Probably fixing some of the print errors that are common with our bunks, which is his secret true reason for doing this. Let's see, what else do we need to mention? Well, in the newsletter that's coming out, there are several other sections. I'll just do a few little updates and mentions. The Aesir fleet continues. John has just finished the 3DO conversion of the... what's the ship again? Valkyria, thank you. It is Friday, guys. Friday, and it was a short week for us as well, being May Day yesterday. Oh, yes, that is what I wanted to mention. We actually are about to have a flash sale. So, as some of you might already be aware, Sunday is the 4th of May, which is generally known across the sci-fi sphere as May the 4th be with you, Star Wars Day. Now, many companies latch on to this and have a sale with Star Wars like merchandise. We're not having a sale for that reason. It just happens to be my 45th birthday. So it's a birthday sale. 45% off for the 4th or the 5th, which is the way that we do it in most of the world. And it just so happens to be a collection of our files that may or may not fit into a galaxy far, far in the distance a long time ago. So no coincidences, no coincidences. You can find the links actually down in the description below. While you're having a look, about to follow those links and that code, may as well just hit the like button or sub, you know, help us grow this channel a little bit so more people can be aware of the cool stuff we make. And yeah, who's sending secret messages to me, John?
Yeah.
Did you say nay?
Yeah.
Hey, Dalton's here. Hey, Dalton.
Oh, hello.
Wait, did he write happy birthday, John? He did.
I'm a very good 45.
Oh, things are going wrong today. So, yeah, no, it's me who has the birthday. Can you just put that somewhere? And I've still got this, wait, I don't have that screen up. I don't want the light in my face, John. I was trying to do that. I tried for like 10 minutes. Oh, that's frustrating. Anyway, he turned the light off for me. So there are some other cool things that I've been doing in prep for the big one, which is Persephone. So that sale, again, just look out in your inboxes if you do follow our newsletter. Otherwise, it's plastered on our Facebook. I'll stick it in our Discord channel as well. And like I noted, just the link below, you can get to the collection we made. Basically, I went through all 945 files that we have up on my mini factory and just picked out everything that looked like it would fit into a certain galaxy that is quite far away. Why are you shaking your head?
No, it was completely random which ones you picked, and they so happen to all appear to be that way.
Look, we're only talking about design aesthetics. It's a coincidental at best.
Yes.
So yeah, that was the big thing. All right, what are people saying? People are saying happy birthday. Well, we've got a few days yet, but yeah, I'm not going to be doing very much for the actual birthday. Oh, Dalton has some voice recognition, so sometimes it reacts to what is said on the TV while he responds on the phone. Okay, fair enough. Oh, local theatre will be screening the original trilogy on Sunday. Nice.
Oh, nice.
But yes, that's basically where the sale's coming from. We have had the animation festival on for the last 3 years during my birthday, so we haven't done anything special. We're too focused on that. So I usually host Trollywood Animation Festival. This will be our 9th year since we started the festival, and that is starting on Thursday. So if you are interested in animation and local, go to trolleywood.animation.se for more information. Yeah, it's going to be a blast. And there'll be plenty of beers there to celebrate my birthday as well, I'm sure. Alright, so let's move on from this thing, because I do have the big one which we're working on here, which is, of course, Persephone. Yeah, and I do, before we do move on to this and focus on the work that I have been able to do this week, it is a shorter week. There are a lot of things to figure out, and a lot of the focus has been more mental exercise at this point in time. We have been talking about the future a lot, and about how we can synergize tribes, frontiers, and Kickstarter, or other crowdfunding platforms a little bit better, because I tend to overexert myself, and then when it comes time to promote things, I'm too exhausted to be bothered sharing constantly. So we're going to try and be better with our communication, showing works in progress outside of our Friday streams. I think we've actually been really good with the Friday streams since we've not missed a week in something like 18 months at this point. So...
Longer.
Sorry?
It's been longer.
Even longer? Well, there you go. But I don't think we had a full 52 episode year the year before, so... Anyway. Which, I mean, that's showing to some degree. We get more visitors than we used to get. Of course, this is following along, seeing behind the scenes, just having a yarn on a Friday afternoon. It's distracting with John praising me on the stream and in real life at the same time he's clapping. Yeah, just... So I'm proud of that fact, but we need to be a lot better with our communication so we can build hype and get people excited and make sure that we stick the landing, I guess, with our crowdfunding campaigns. And we need to be a little bit better about offering more options, because we do realize, a lot more people are supporting us on tribes now, which means they maybe don't have as much of a budget to support big ship projects and whatnot. But what can we do to synergize things and create value for people that back both of those? And it's actually Albin's initiative that he has an idea that we're exploring about creating the next 3 months of Tribes is going to be a linked adventure. So it's themed with sections that come together. It's going to be in the same universe as Persephone, which will be a separate thing. But the creations that we put out will feel at home, and we may well use them when showing off the ship. yeah, we haven't finished that, but I want to do a lot more with GridForge this year, and we're also in early talks with Mongoose about how we can apply GridForge with that. So probably not until the end of the year, because we want to make sure the Fifth Frontier War is fully delivered before we get back into Traveller again. It doesn't feel great going and begging for money, essentially, when you've still got things on the back burner that you want to deliver. So even though it's completely separate from the 3D production. So probably later in the year, I'd say November, December, to be honest. And we may do a GridForge that is themed with Persephone and tribes on a frontier before we put out Persephone, depending on how we get things, sort of how well the planning pans out, so to speak. GridForge is a little bit easier for us to create a project because it's more restrictive in what we're going to put out. But we do have some pretty wacky ideas for how we can use the system. We've already started experimenting with including the walls in the squares, and this is what's got me kind of thinking that we could easily do some Starship geomorphs for Traveller, or even some custom jobs to do the existing deck plans just using GridForge rather than worrying about the hull. So that's kind of what we're looking to pitch. Mongoose have to agree to it first. Kathy, your next GridForge has a lot of... your next Kickstarter has a lot of GridForge. Such a great system. Yeah, I agree. I mean, just ask John. He's blushing. He's shaking his head, but I've been praising it many times now because I'm just happy about all of the possibilities. And the best kind of... I think we have some more tricks up our sleeves, don't we? Yes. Some ideas about what else we can do. All right, let's focus on Persephone and try to keep me from rambling too much in all kinds of directions. Hey, there's a question. Hey, Blasted, you tried doing a Traveller geomorph when GridForge first released. Nice. Yes, and of course, Shergel has done many different variants, including the complete interior layout of a science ship / lab ship, which is very impressive. And the other thing too is, Dalton, you would be able to make your Azanti higher lightning because we would be providing the tools to do that. So if you want to be a madman and make it your swan song, massive project, and completely fill your garage, you can feel free to do that. But yeah, the whole part, no. I don't think we can do that. GamesArt is also, yes, planning to do their next release using GridForge as well. So it's nice to see that we're building a community that can work together to create some awesome new tiles. A big part of growing that is going to be getting other parties interested in using it as well. And it actually does warm my heart that great creators like Kathy and Philip and Blasted are able to use those systems and build upon what John has started, really, but under our name. So with that out of the way, let's focus on this ship now. So mostly this is a review of where I'm at the moment. You can see it's still in a very early block out phase. There has been a little bit more development of the engines, but a lot of my thought has been going into lighting and also some other fancy features that I might talk about now, actually. So my entire goal with this ship is to apply a few design principles that, and ultimately it is my sort of love letter to Ron Cobb and the Nostromo and the film Alien, in part because I want to make something that feels like it has the design language that it might exist in that universe, but also a few things that have been sticking in my head. Like, I've heard the Nostromo be referred to as a haunted house in space, and that's kind of like what I want to create here, so that there'll be tons of ducts and ways that you can get from one part of the ship to the other without necessarily just using the main corridors and passages, allowing alternative routes of escape, but also for whatever might have infested the ship to get around without the crews knowing about it. So size-wise, just because it's hard to tell on screen, but from the tip of that antenna to the back of the ship is 105 centimeters. And this requires a lot of forethought about how the ship is going to hold up under its own weight. This is why, in part, we have these landing gear are going to be far more reinforced than they are right now. They'll be thickened up even more. But actually, a lot of the weight of the ship is held on its belly here. And this is the part that I've actually started physically printing. And if I switch back over to my close-up camera, you can see the current iteration of this. There were some print issues and some grease smudges there, so maybe I should show this side. You can see where I made the walls a bit too thin. But this is, I guess, the keel, in a sense. Obviously not the front part of it, but the underside of the cargo bay. So you can get a good impression of the scale and size of this ship. It is actually quite weighty, and the lower part of the ship is going to be heavy. And I have brought this up before, but these squares here, or I guess channels, will actually run the full way through the ship. And that's going to be to add support rods that we can use. Not the standard kind that we've been using, but more like when they actually made the Nostromo, it was an 11-foot model, so like 3.5 meters. Oh yeah, I've got my shirt on today as well, I just realized. They used a forklift for the landing sequence. And I'd love to be able to work with Docus again to essentially recreate that landing sequence on an alien world. Albin's done some cool rock formations, testing sculpting and that sort of thing. And Mickey is always great at building terrain, especially if you've got great references. And so what I wanted is this channel to run the full length of the ship, so we can have metal rods, and that would let us film the ship from the front or the back. Now the tricky thing is the electrics. That is to say, how we're going to light the thing. And whilst I'm grateful to the light kits that Zoroma had built for us, I always felt like I didn't know what I was really doing with those, and I was entirely reliant on other people. And that hasn't changed. The difference is there's a great little manufacturer of Lego light kits, and I've just bought a couple of already existing light kits because I figure if I just use one or two of these, I can actually point to the ones I bought, and you guys should be able to make what we want. Now, the really cool thing that I'm working on at the moment, if I can just find where it is well, these kits come with let me just show you. They come with these sort of plug and play circuit boards. So you can actually have like this running off a battery pack and then connected to a bunch of lights, and they have all of these extenders. And it's very small. It's much smaller than the electrics that we've had in our previous light kits, all LED based. And the beauty of it is it can be connected and run off USB. And we don't have to worry about, are we putting in too much power or whatnot. It's all regulated already and connected to remotes. So whilst we probably can't get a ton of functionality off this, like we probably could if someone else who knew what they were doing was doing it, but my main thing is to be able to turn it on and off, and maybe have some multiple systems running at once. And a part of that is the fact that I want to have more than just lights in this thing. And that's where this little thing comes in handy. So this is like an ultrasonic, do you know what they're called, John?
Yeah.
What?
It's an atomizer.
Atomizer, that's what I was looking for. And what it does is you touch some water to it and it creates steam. And the point of that is, you might notice we have these round circular things. What I've realized just in the last couple of hours is we could actually have a segment of 9 of these things perhaps on each of these main thrusters. Now, we probably won't have them all linked up at once because we'll just film like one section as a close-up. But we have room for running lights down here. There's going to be an LED strip. We're going to figure something out for the engines, probably one light per engine, but they'll probably be on a different circuit. We'll have some bridge lighting because you'll be able to see into the bridge. And maybe some like navigation lights attached to these antennas. The kind of cables that they gave us are quite easy to just run around things, hide, create channels. So I'm excited about that. Let me just get my chat back up and see what people are saying. Scaling to 15mm would be fun. Kathy says, I have so many model railway ones to use up, but I have my eye on these. I was freaking cool when it was freaking cool when we tried it in the office earlier, meaning the steam, the atomizers. They do make some noise. But I really don't know what I'm doing, so it's a bit of an experiment, and the main thing is that we would be combining this also with a smoke machine to simulate the atmosphere. So technically, if we get a decent thick atmosphere and these in action, you should be able to see the steam pushing at the smoke, and we could get some nice interactions, I'm hoping. Kathy says, my only worry with atomizers is that they deposit quite a bit of water onto the model, which can affect the paint if you are not careful. Have you found any issues in your testing? We really only tested for like 2 minutes. And yes, that could be an issue. The Chinese ones I ordered do have like these sponges behind them. I'm hoping that the water damage won't be so bad because they will be pointing downwards and spraying away from the model. So with any luck, it will mainly be focused on these downward thrusters. And in that sense, I'm hoping it's going to be more an issue for it might be more of an issue for the actual alien world. And maybe a way to solve that is to give it more like of a lacquer finish, so it looks a bit wet maybe already. I don't know, I'll have to talk to Mickey about that. Flashing beacons, yeah, maybe that sort of thing. I know there are some people making really small LED displays for Lego, just putting that out there for some things. I have bought some of those screens before, although it was a couple of years ago now. I don't want to make it too excessive either. I'd love to be able to point to one thing and say, here's this, $60 light kit. You get all you need in it, and not like, oh, I use this, this, and this, and by the way, the lighting kits are worth more than what you pay for the STLs. Next level for you will be to build in the induction coil so you can have internal lighting. Enamel clear coat would probably be a good idea to protect from water deposits, yeah. Kathy says, just make sure you don't short anything with the water. That's a good point. I don't think it would be able to be, because we're talking about like a studio size display, so all of the lighting and everything else should be a fair distance away. The ship should be suspended. And then I don't think we'll be using it too much. So we'll see, but that is a concern, and I'm grateful to you bringing it up. You can also get reptile humidifiers that have a massive tank. I have one to add multiple streams via a tube, but consider getting one of those if you need more volume. Actually, that would be really great if you can share that with me, because I'm not finished with this. The main thing that I'm kind of hoping at the moment is that it can be contained within the ship. I'm not opposed to using like close-up shots to cheat, But the idea of building it in such a modular way so that you can literally just clip off these units as well, so that we could have a version that has the tubes in it and a version that doesn't. What I'd be interested to know about those humidifiers is how adding multiple streams via a tube actually is, because I'd be worried that some of the tubes would have stronger force than other ones. Although, of course, if you've got a much stronger machine to begin with, maybe we're in a different situation. Although that's really great stuff to bring up. Modify a vape. Maybe that works. I don't know anything about this stuff other than cosplay. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think we need more control than that. Well, there you go. Cool spider reptile frogateria. Okay, she's got the link up already. Maybe someone on our team can copy it and paste it somewhere for later. But yeah, let's talk about the ship. Let's get off the top layers here and look at how we're prepping, because the main thing I'm trying to think of is, like, I want a strip of lighting here, so that's it'll be fairly well hidden from the camera, but sort of point down at this 45-degree angle, so we should get some interesting lighting with an LED strip. I don't want it to be too strong either, so that it overpowers the other lighting, because one of the things with the scale is we don't have a ton of control over, how bright the lights are. And we don't want to have to work too much in post-production either to balance it all out. Thank you for those links, guys. Much appreciated. Dude, that's like 380 liters an hour. Jeez. I guess...
Milliliters.
Sorry?
380 milliliters.
Oh, well, that's not what it says there on Kathy's description.
The one he had found.
Okay. Probably better. In any case, I think it would be a cool addition. I don't know if everyone even would want that in their games, but for our video, I do want it. So I have been doing a little bit of work with the interior layout. One thing I have done is designed some new tiles, and anyone who knows anything about the film Alien or another film called Star Wars is that it was made in a particular set of studios in London, and a lot of the materials that they used for the sets have been taken from common items that were available in the UK at that time. And perhaps the most famous and common of those is a particular plastic palette that has been used for floor paneling, wall paneling in both the Millennium Falcon and the Nostromo. And so I wanted to make a grid forge tile. Let me switch again to my Zoomerino camera. And we have these transparent versions here. So you can see the lights seeping through, and it looks very, very cool when you, for example, combine it with, let's see, there we go. I got a red light, for example. If you put the red light behind it, I guess this is a bit strong on stream, so you can kind of see it shining through. Let's see. I guess you can't really see a great effect of it, but it casts a nice shadow, and yeah, this is a variant of GridForge where technically, not a great print here, it's a failed print, so maybe I have a better one here somewhere. This looks much more solid. I did about 8 iterations to get to this point. But this is quite similar to that palette design. Obviously, this is a 1.5 meter by 1.5 meter. The real ones are like 1 meter by 1.2 meters or something like that. But we need to fit the pattern. I haven't imported them in yet to the scene, and I'll be doing versions that have the floor filled in as well. It's just when you have second stories, you could have light shining down through, and it would look really, really cool, is my thinking. So again, I can hold that up. Hopefully you guys can see the detail. There we go. So not a perfect print, but you see the effect. And I'm not sure I've shown you the ultimate version that I made, because I think I'm on the 8th iteration, and it came out nice. So getting those floor tiles ready. And the main thing here has been working on the hangar as well. So I've kind of gone back and looked at the landing gear room and sort of storage bay that they have in the lower deck of Nostromo, taking a little bit of inspiration from that, a little bit of design language echoed here too from the what do we call it? The from the Typhon. And we have this sort of integrated configuration of parts here. So it's going to be very large and robust, and I'm hoping that there'll be points, at least, where you could, in theory, with fairly small amounts of work, expand the length of the ship, if nothing else. That should be possible. Width, maybe possible. It's going to be a challenge. I don't think this ship is going to be massively customizable on the outside. I think the main thing is if you wanted to lengthen it, you could. And the other thing to note is we actually have these metal rods running sort of integrated into the design. So those should fit in rather snugly. The models that I put in are not 6mm, they're 6.2 millimeters. So there is a little bit of extra room in there. So that's just to make sure that the rods will fit. Let's see. Those tiles look sweet. Thank you, Brendan. Shogol says, my version of the transparent had to be printed upside down, and of course when your top layer is on the bottom, quality was difficult. I mean, you're still compromising, and a part of the effect where it doesn't matter is because the original floor tiles in the Nostromo, and I think they're also seen in the walls in the engineering section, because they are based on pallets, they actually do have multi-layers. So this kind of feels like it feels right because it's designed fairly closely to that design. So I meant the red light looked familiar. Okay, yes. I mean, the red light definitely looks familiar because you gave me the link for these ones and I've been testing it out. The brighter setting has been an issue for my eyes. It's quite impressive. Let's see. Tamsin says, looks good. Kathy says, I always get really smooth prints upside down, so I often use that side if I can. Overboard says, looks good. Thank you. Tamsin says, Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. And Trevor says, is a tier of the crowdfunding going to be the bonus situation? We did that for Soul Survivor, actually. That's what we called the stretch goals, the bonus situation, yeah. And the answer to that is right. The bright setting is how I get that blue glow look because my camera tries to find a working way. Okay, right. So it's like, I mean, the brighter it is, the more blue it should technically be, right? That's how it works. Right. Exactly. So we have our cargo bay. Plenty of room here for an APC if you want to put it in there. I might be shrinking or extending the ship just a tiny bit so we've got a bit more room. The plan here in this cavity underneath at the back is actually where the batteries were going to go. Thing is though, since this is all feeding off USBs, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to stick an outlet between the engines somewhere on this side and maybe towards the front as well so that there are some options. But I'm not quite sure how we'll switch them over from one power source to the other. That's a bit more of a challenge. Unless it is simply a fact that it feeds in from one place and it's just reliant on which plug you use. So I'm not entirely sure, but I can definitely say that these Lego kits from what's the company called?
Brick something?
Yeah, it is Brick something.
Uh,
I don't want to be. It says Brick World here, but that's not it either. They don't have tons of logos on things, but in any case, I feel
My
confident.
Bricks.
Sorry?
My Bricks.
No. In any case, it just it feels like because you can plug and play it, I'm not as frightened as to what I'm doing, and it's relatively easy to swap out components. Let's see. You can get small USB power banks. Yes, you can. A lot of people have used those as well. And that would allow the ship to be contained internally. But the thing is, either I could have an outlet in the actual cargo bay, so you can just open the cargo bay, turn it on from in there, and then switch it out. I'm more thinking about how am I going to film the model and easily switch things out. So I think having hidden USB outlets where you could put like a plug in front of it might be the better option. And just like filming from angles so you can't see the cable. Or, ultimately we can paint it out if we have to. Make sure it's obscured. So there are a couple of options in there. We'll see what we end up going with. And yeah. So the next trick is going to be how we mount the side sections here. And a big part of that is just having this sort of like second row. We've already got these very primitive shapes here. Let's see, close up. So these are just attach like so. And I'm trying different angles here because I want there to be less strain. I think there'll be less overall strain if we have the connections running in parallel. So between the metal rods we can put in, I'm not sure they're going to be needed, but you can kind of already see there's not a ton of bend in this. And when we combine that with the fact that there are going to be landing gear beneath it as well, and we potentially are reinforcing each level, each half level above, I should say, because this ship is being built with a sub-level under each. So technically this is the sub-level for level 1. Level 1 sits on top of that. Then you have a sub-level for level 2, for example. And this is where we get all our crawl spaces in between. So that there will be a way, for example, we have this sort of behind the wall, I guess this is like atmospheric processing or whatnot. You've got your little access areas. This is another floor I've designed. Simplifications of what we've already seen. The only thing I'm not sure of at the moment is what we're going to do with the walls, if we're going to make them full length or just this half length version, and then actually have some solid walls in between that provide a little bit more structure. Haven't decided yet. It's going to be a big build and it's quite ambitious. And then the other thing too is since Shergol is in the crowd as well, the way I have been solving these odd shapes is to have a grid forged tile here that just has this as a side attachment. So we have done like a half wedge already for the Asia fleet ships. Sometimes though, that might need to be highly customized if you're going to have the bridge look. I'm probably going to go with a standard bridge that's more our style, just so we can stay outside of, being too close to the films we're sort of like drawing inspiration from. Although we may have something a little bit more on the nose as like a stretch goal, so you could customize it yourself a little bit closer. I'm not sure yet. You've done side attachments to fill the space. Right, built into the actual grids though, because that's what we've been trying to avoid. But of course we're doing fully model stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I'm choking on my words here. Merged into grid force, yeah. See, if we did that though, you can't choose which level of tightness you want. And, you know, between that and the nail clips, I think we're trying to go for a bit more customizability than what we had with AC Fleet as well. Let's see, full-size USB or less fragile USB-C might not be ideal for filling with greeblies. What I mean more is like, for example, these holes. We could just have a piece that's like a cap that you just slip in on top. And that's all I mean. So like for USB, we might have something similar. Where you just have a cap that just sits loosely on, or there's like in a large enough area that it's not too much of an issue. There are some really nice USB power banks indeed. Yeah, I mean, we could do all of that, and that would be an option, I think, for people that wanted to use this cavity. I don't think we'll necessarily fill it, or if we do... Yeah, I think we'll just leave this as an empty space so that there is somewhere for people to modify this. You could just unclip these engines, maybe access the back plate and swap out what you need to. But I would like to be able to direct people to, hey, go and buy this kit, this will help. Let's see. Kathy says, I use USB hubs for around my workbench in Scott City. Yeah, I have bought a couple of like USB splitters and a few other things like I think we've got a USB hub here as well, so just creating a few different options for flexibility, because I'm not sure how many I need to feed everything off, because I think we'll probably have lighting on one circuit, then we'll have like the atomizers on a different circuit, and I don't know yet if we're going to use atomizers or if we'd go for a larger solution. But if we need to feed in a tube from the outside too, that's going to take up space. It needs to be hidden in the video. And I think I'd probably put the engine lights on a different circuit just so that we can have them separate from like running lights and that sort of thing. And in that landing sequence too, they're just, you know, cold in space, and then they fire a little bit to move the ship, and then that's it, right? You think travel card is dang small and could be tucked into all sorts of places. Yeah, there's great options these days, and I don't know how long the lights need to really run, but considering the fact that you can like run a phone off those things, is just I don't see it as being an issue. Let's see. So I know it's slow going, and a lot of this is just wrapping my head around how this thing is supposed to work. The ship, like, bottom is a little bit more in contact with the table than necessary. Like you can see here, I have these sort of struts. They look like stylistically that they're designed to support the engines, but really the landing gear would probably be a bit further down in reality than these would be. But in practice, we want the whole base of this ship to be in contact with the table to support all of that weight. And the main concern I have is droopage, and that's why I've also gone for that sort of interconnected style where we've got, you know, these parts so that all of the pressure isn't running in the same direction all of the time, and that there'll be, you know, significant sections that we can clip together, create some of that reinforcement so we have a really solid base for the rest of it to sit on. And hopefully then it's just a matter of, you know, floor after floor. And if we turn off, I think we'll probably do it in such a way that the engine plates, these side thrusters and front thrusters all are on this one base level. So it'll be very chunky on this level, maybe a little difficult to see down into the cargo bay. But I kind of feel it's a necessity if we're going to actually keep this ship together and stable. So engineering is definitely going to be a lot more of a challenge in this. At the same time, the weight is in a way better distributed than say like Typhon, or the Type S series, where it's like there's a real risk that the ship will fall apart, especially since over time open lock clips do warp a little bit, lose their grip, all sorts of issues. Contact with the table was awesome with the Erebus. The Erebus, though, look, I'm extremely proud of the Erebus. I think it's a very solid ship. I'm looking over at one of mine. And, even without landing gear, it's great. I think I've tested landing gear. I think it works alright. And, I mean, technically, Typhon also has decent contact. It's just a case of it can fall apart quite easily when you're trying to move it. Mon Capitan says there's some generic China ones that are readily available for the... I hope not the Erebus. How about a scenery skin for power banks to make it look like a fuel tank or a bit of machinery instead of hiding the power bank? Turn it into scenery. It's entirely possible. I think the main thing is accessing it, because you would have to take off the top layers anyway. And I kind of feel like there are a few things that we need to take into consideration. All engines need to be on the base level, or basically all lighting, because if we want it any higher up, so maybe, for example, the bridge lighting would run on a power bank on a separate level. And we do have some options there for, say, this cavity here behind the bridge could hold a little power bank and some lighting. Although more than likely, the lighting would actually be on the next level up. And we have plenty of options here. So if we can find something that is thin enough to fit, to be smaller than an inch. And like, for example, not a power bank, but this light here, right, is smaller than an inch. Also happy to know that those atomizers are 2 centimeters, so they fit into an inch grid as well. There's some options. By the way, Mon Capitan, any plans to paint up some of those armors from this month? Mon Capitan does some great paint jobs of our miniatures and scenery and vehicles and that sort of thing. So, again, very happy with the tribes this month with the cool little rafts and things. Expect something maybe a little larger next time. And maybe a few more collaborations in the future. I know, for example, we're going to do a collab with Philip, and we're going to be building up, I think, into our next frontier, which will be another smaller Grid Forge campaign. Only this time, we might expand the possibilities. One of the things we're talking about as well is in the future being able to do multiple levels, or we have some ideas. I don't want to give them all away right now to keep some things a surprise, and also to sort of make sure that I'm not oversharing. So I think we are getting... Okay, let's see. Brendan says, would there be, say, a Gridforge pledge level so people can just get the new tiles? We can do that. Yeah, sure. We could do that for sure. If you just want, like, you don't want the whole of the ship, but just the interior. That kind of makes a lot of sense. It'd still be quite an extensive package, maybe, but... I don't see why not. That's actually quite a good idea. We'll probably provide a couple of different options, and I think this time I might lean more towards, because we'll want to, offer some of the existing stuff that people haven't picked up on tribes or other areas. So anything that's in theme here, Erebus and Typhon will probably make a reappearance, although as just a larger pledge. We want to make sure that you guys get to get as many stretch goals unlocked with miniatures and grid forge tiles, for example. So that's kind of where we're at. We're at 3:59, about to be 4 o'clock, and I can feel my voice is giving out again. Really need to start working on that if I'm going to host a festival next week. But thank you for joining me. I think there'll be a lot more focus on Persephone moving forward. And I'm hoping, well, John will be streaming next week because I'm away at the festival. But I think he's going to be talking about some of the integrations for AC Fleet. I'll see. Lots of stuff going on behind the scenes. So thank you for joining me today. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Have a happy May the 4th. I know I will. And thank you for all of the birthday wishes as well. Much appreciated. I will see you guys in 2 weeks. John will be back next Friday. Have a great one, everyone. Bye.